Hello, I'm Mary Beth Evazich. I'm going to show you how to make a very simple, easy to make, and healthy-ish dessert, which is going to transform these ingredients into chocolate bark. The chocolate bark is by no means a new concept, very popular, but the way that I'm going to make it is going to borrow from a concept of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine known as the dessert flip. In a dessert flip, rather than having a very sweet, sugary dessert, which is garnished with a small amount of fruit or nuts, that you really feature the dessert and nuts. And in this case, we're going to tie it all together with some dark chocolate. So let's get going. So let's look at what you're going to need. A serrated knife for chopping the chocolate. If you don't have a serrated knife, you can use a regular knife, but you're going to get chocolate flying everywhere. Or you could also use a grater, a spatula, and you will need a microwave-proof bowl. So this is a plastic bowl. Highly recommend plastic rather than glass. And for ingredients, we have here the chocolate divided into two parts. We have this is semi-sweet chocolate, 9 ounces, and 3 ounces here that I'll be chopping up. And then these are all the things that are going to go on top of the chocolate. So I'm using some dried cranberries for something chewy, some spiced pecans for some crunch, and then also, but you could use any nuts, and then also some cacao nibs that are going to give a little bit of bitterness, some additional crunch. They add some contrasting flavor and more crunch with toasted coconut flakes, and then some saltiness with some Maldon salt flakes. That's what I'm using, but you use whatever you want. Now let the tempering begin. You're going to start a process of microwaving your chocolate in 30-second increments and then stirring with a rubber spatula. You're going to do this again and again for about 2 to 3 minutes. It may take more than that. It's hard to say exactly because every microwave has a different power level, and it also depends on how finely you have chopped your chocolate. Of course, the more finely you have chopped it, the more quickly it will melt. What you're going for is to try to get to 105 degrees. So if you have an instant read thermometer, by all means use it. If you don't, one trick is supposedly if you put a dab of the tempering chocolate just below your lower lip and it feels, just give you a bit of a hot sting, supposedly that's right on the mark. You're going to keep doing these 30-second increments and then stirring with the spatula, and then once you're seeing that it's mostly melted, you're going to reduce the increments in the microwave to 15 seconds and then 10 seconds, and then as soon as you're seeing it's all smooth and melted, you are ready to introduce your reserved chocolate. Quick tip, you'll notice that the reserved chocolate in the small bowl, I've actually grated it. The finer the pieces, the quicker it will melt and the easier it will be to temper. Now at this point, you want to make sure that you have everything ready to go. All of your add-ins, that you've got your Silpat or your foil all prepared on your baking sheet because you're working against the clock. So you'll start first by spreading out your chocolate on your pan, and it's up to you how thick you do it, but you need to do it at least 1/8 inch thick, a little bit thicker than that. If you go too thin, all your add-ins don't really have anything to attach to, and it'll be a little bit too brittle. So I'm spreading it a little bit more than an 1/8 inch thick here. Do your best to get it as even as possible in terms of thickness. But don't worry about making it perfectly smooth because you're going to be adding in all the add-ins. Next, you need to let the chocolate bark set up. It's going to take a good hour. It may take longer if you have a warm room, but make sure it sets completely before you cut it. You can cut it two ways. You can go real rough and just break it up with your hands and get these jagged corners. Alternately, if you want a little more control over the shape and the serving sizes, you can score the chocolate bark first with a knife and then go in and break it. Here it is, chocolate bark. Yum. So satisfying. Crunchy, chewy, a little salt, a little sweet, a little bitter. Love it. So again, this is my recipe, but make it your own. So add in a different textures, different tastes to make it satisfying for you. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, I hope you'll visit truefoodconcepts.com, and here's to your health.